Good morning and welcome to the Victorian Ultimate Southern Regional Championships. We are coming to you live from the Greater Bendigo area. My name's Andy Moroney and I'm joined by Dan Clinton. Dan, good morning.
Good morning, Andy. How are you today?
Fantastic. Conditions are beautiful and sunny, although a little bit of wind as we get underway. We'll bring you video shortly. For now, it's going to be the good old FM band radio. So we are watching Valkyrie out of South Australia playing Melbourne Phoenix, and we might have a block on the first point. No, a foul uncontested.
I think we're going to see a lot of zone in this first game, Andy. The wind is gusting about 10, 20 kilometres an hour, so it's strong enough that a zone becomes a good option on defence.
Totally agree. I think the upwinder will be pivotal in this game, and obviously converting your downwinders as Valkyrie are looking to do.
Yeah, Franklin is going to find a reset.
Kennedy with it, holds it, gets a pop through the cup. Another pop through the cup to Lucas. Lucas looks on the backhand.
Valkyrie
to engage the dump, moves to Kennedy. Kennedy hemmed in on the sideline. Phoenix will do well to keep this in and not let it off the sideline. They all forcing back in. One goes over the top to Lucas. Lucas out to Emma Victory. Emma back to Lucas.
Oh, what a throw there by Lucas.
Gets Malhorter in the middle now. This is better positioning. Moving the swing. Great pick-up. Low disc. Great pick-up. Phoenix having their zone moved around and great patience shown by Valkyrie in this first point. They now have it about their attacking brick mark. They're about 15 metres out. Swing. A little bit too much heat on the flick, and Phoenix are going to get their first look going upwind. It'll be Beck McConaughey going to the disc.
Phoenix doing enough there, just delaying that offense, making them throw a lot of passes before eventually a turnover results. They're going to give it straight back.
Hoss can't convert. Luster disc went just behind her. And got a couple of discs on the field from their brother/sister Hoss team in Juggernaut. So now they all looks like they're going to collapse into a matched defense. Lusted marking. That's Malhorter with the disc. Looks inside. Break flick to Lucas. Again, just a little bit behind. So, Dan, I think we are going to see, given the conditions, I think we're going to see longer points. And it's really about who can grind out those longer points, particularly if going upwind, as we see another turnover, just demonstrating how tricky this wind is going to be for all teams this tournament. And Hoss have reset their zone.
You're exactly right, Andy. The conditions today are just going to sort out, those throws, and the ones that are a little bit loose, that aren't spinning as much as they should be, they're going to find the ground, and you're going to have to, be a little bit more clinical with your throws, with your decision making, and eventually, you need to win that upwind point that's going to be crucial in a game like this.
Agreed. Heads of state now with the disc. Break backhand to Katie Locke. Lusted goes. Locke looks to send it. Doesn't. Looks to getting a high count. Caitlin Lusted gets it under. And Hoss move it up probably as far as they have. Almost hit their attacking Brit mark, but now it's been a turnover.
Just
they'll probably
rushing.
Set their junk again.
Just rushing a little bit at the moment. Heads of state Phoenix.
Valkyrie now with the disc. Hoss are throwing a bit of a junky look. Malhorter. One through the cup to Lucas. Lucas popping well. More poppers go. Malhorter back to Lucas. Lucas break. Great break flick. Oh. Disc popping up for everyone. Eventually a turn. And this is probably Heads of State's best look. They are on the sideline, but they've got it about halfway down.
The offense is a little bit messy at the moment.
Maddie looks to Beck. Beck in power position. McConaughey. Back to Maddie. Heads of State really attacking hard up the line. And Maddie looks around, tries to get the around backhand break. Unfortunately, no player there. So Valkyrie again, Malhorter with the disc. Popping has dried up a little bit, but one comes through. Kirsty Lucas has been that popper again. Lucas. Valkyrie doing a good job of not letting the count get too high. Heads of State are allowing those easy resets. And a little bit of space over the back that Lucas wants to hit. Malhorda goes in through the cup. Easy pop. Looks to step through the cup, but the cup drops back, collapses. Heads of State seemingly okay with allowing those little pops in. Going to make Valkyrie throw probably 30, 40 throws to get it towards the red zone. Another pop comes in. Instead, goes around the back. Emma Kennedy. Kennedy, big one through the middle. That's perfect positioning by Lucas. Looks to then move it to Victory. Back to Lucas. Victory. Great position here. No, easily to Emma Kennedy. Emma Kennedy getting a higher count. One over the top. Gets Alex Hung gets half a disc to hand to it. But that's the first score of the game, Dan. A couple of turnovers, but Valkyrie managed to get it done. It's 1-0.
You could see that they finally figured out that zone, that there was no real pressure on the disc, and if they could just keep resetting it and then finding that next throw into the intermediate space behind, they were getting progress. And, well played by Valkyrie. That's the first point of the game, a downwinder. Now it's their turn to go on defense.
And Heads of State, you feel Phoenix kind of threw down the gauntlet and said, we're going to make you throw 30, 40 passes to get the score. And I think early on in that point, they were getting the turns, but Valkyrie kind of, as you say, adjusted, realised it's not necessarily a pressure zone. It was more of a containy kind of zone. But they were able to find space kind of behind the wall as well as easy pops in. And I think if I was Phoenix right now, the discussion would probably be which one are we going to take away? Because you can take away those inside pops and play more of a pressure zone, I think, or allow that space over the back.
I think if you're coaching Phoenix at the moment, you're happy with that point. You know, you make them earn it.
Yep.
Make them throw the 40 passes because Phoenix did get many opportunities there.
I agree, and it's never a great feeling when you're on the offense team. The pressure is kind of all on you on the downwinds. You know, and especially if it's up here near the brick, your defending brick mark, you don't want to be turning over on a simple dump. So I agree. I think Phoenix will be happy. They saw the disc a couple of times. They probably had it up near their attacking brick mark, which first point of the game, that's kind of what we want to see. And Phoenix, I think, as you say, will take a bit of confidence from that. Phoenix now on offense. Felicity Whitehead over to Gemma. Gemma fakes the backhand, goes otherwise inside, and now Valkyrie are going to get a look at their halfway mark. So, as we said, it's never a great feeling being on offense and kind of having the pressure to convert the downwind.
Hey, that's the thing about zone, you know, like the passes can be easy passes, but you still got to complete them, and the wind just adds enough of a complicating element that sometimes it's not as easy as it sounds.
Exactly. Okay, and as you're seeing, the wind is a challenge for both teams, particularly the team going upwind, which in this point is Valkyrie. Felicity Whitehead picks it up, looks at Gemma Riddock. Riddock, another big backhand fake. Instead, back to Whitehead. Whitehead swings it around. Heads of State hitting the horizontal space, probably just not attacking up. I don't know if they've got poppers or one sitting behind. They're just going to kind of feel it out as well, as Riddock now gets it on the corner. Has a big look at the field before the wall collapses in around her now. Riddock, great wide step-out backhand fakes. And now Phoenix a little bit hemmed in. Moving it backwards. Great pressure by the Valkyrie zone. And now Heads of State want to see if they can get it done on the far sideline. And in Big D.
That's what they call putting the team on your back. Just getting in there, just chasing with relentless enthusiasm.
Read it really well. Saw that pass was going up. And now for the first break of the game. Unfortunately can't get it done, but excellent field position for Valkyrie here. This is the deepest that we've seen it on the upwind side. And now the pressure, probably more to Heads of State to convert their first downwind offense.
It's always uncomfortable bringing the disc in from the corner when you're a handler. It's just all
eyes on you.
You're walking up and everyone's looking at you and you're thinking, all right, where do I go with this? And the defense is completely set up.
And you do want to find a good option, but also not necessarily muck around with it down in your end zone, especially with an upwind, downwind dynamic that we've got today. Radicke, that said, Phoenix showing great patience, happy to swing it around. And now we see one get let go over the cup,
nice.
And that's cracking. And now Radicke has it in power position. It's a one-on-one, and that's good enough for her to look at. But unfortunately, a turnover.
In these conditions, you're not exactly upset about that.
I'm not mad about that at all. No.
Play for position.
Yep.
Clap on a defense, get another turn, and all of a sudden you're in the end zone.
Yeah, you're right. Your odds are probably, if you're looking at a 50-50 or better, you're probably comfortable, and that was certainly a 50-50. And now Valkyrie have all the hard work to do upwind. As we see them coming off a vertical, cannot complete the first pass. But, Dan, as you say, it's now coming in from the sideline, and it does seem, for those at home, it is a very strong left to right breeze, upwind, downwind. However, even in the first couple of points of this game, we have been noticing the close sideline seems to be the one that people are hemmed in on. If they can get it to that high side, the far sideline from this camera position, you probably feel like that's a better position. As you see one go deep early, almost picked up, almost the scraps. And now Valkyrie are going to run and gun quickly. Nice flat backhand comes out. And now Heads of State are able to set their defense. Really strong pressure on the mark, really strong forces right backwards. Cut's starting to dry up. One comes now. A lot of pressure around this small space. Long throw does come now. And unfortunately incomplete.
The wind just taking the life out of that deep throw.
And for those at home, the wind is picking up even more now. So Whitehead gets it going. Heads of State, similarly to Valkyrie, not too fussed about the counts. One goes over the top. Unfortunately, just more of an execution error there. There was a free player out wide. And another turnover. It'll now be at halfway for Heads of State as they look to walk and set up. It looks like Valkyrie will persist with their junk, which, why wouldn't you? It's getting your turns, Dan.
It's a hard game out there at the moment. Neither side really able to find what they need to.
And there is an adjustment to the wind. You know, it's picking up even more now as we watch Valkyrie bring it in. Cut comes under, unfortunately can't complete. You can hear Radicke calling a set play.
Valkyrie
around to Radicke. That's an excellent throw.
Valkyrie going back to their zone, and Radicke is just going to put
grab down the back. That looked to be Valkyrie's all day. But someone sneaking out the back. We'll find out who that is from Heads of State. That's an excellent grab.
It was Newen who outread Jaeger. Jaeger just in a world of trouble underneath the disc. Got caught underneath it. Newen
picks it up. And the funny thing is, Dan, Newen was actually not too far off the first. One of the other discs that went deep. She almost picked up the scraps of that one. So we heard Radicke calling a set play. I don't know if that was specifically the set play, but I think they'll take it.
Let's give her the benefit of the doubt
absolutely.
In this case, I think.
Yeah, masterclass.
As it was drawn up.
Exactly
perfect
as they
execution.
Drew it up. Yep.
Well, Valkyrie will go downwind now on this point.
All right.
And I imagine Phoenix will go back to that zone. It did have them some success in the first point.
I think probably both teams will be looking at their zones and saying, okay, we got some turns. I think probably more the Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie probably got a couple more turns, but that's what we're going to look at. It's going to be that kind of game where there are going to be longer points and the team that kind of can push through those points. And when it's, the 4th turn, 5th turn, 6th turn, and still trust their structures and still, strike in the deep space and not be afraid to turn it over, especially going upwind, chance your hand and see what happens. So
it seems like Melbourne Phoenix are very much a run and gun, ride or die kind of team.
Yeah.
The pedal seems flat to the floor most of the time when they're on offense.
Exactly. So 2 points in, we're on serve 1-1. And as predicted, Dan, Heads of State Phoenix are going to roll with their zone look.
Looks like an arrowhead of some description. You see 5 players really close around with 42 from Phoenix playing in close. Valkyrie going backwards at a great rate of knots.
Very good pressure from Halsterzone. A little bit of
physical
body,
in the cup.
unintentional. Oh, and Lusted gets a little hand in over Emma Victory. And a real chance here. As Leah Cushion picks up the disc, looks at Lusted. Lusted clears out. They look to engage the dump. Unfortunately, just too far away. And there's a player from Valkyrie sneaking out the back. There's no deep. Leah Cushion's getting back to the deep now. And turnover at about midfield, maybe just upwards of midfield. So another real chance as Beck McConaughey goes to the disc. A real chance for Phoenix to put in the first upwind break of this game. Looks like Heads of State are playing a very, very tight vert stack. Dump goes up the line. Lusted comes back. Shot goes up over the stack, but there are players there. Leah Cushion and Heads of State have the first upwind break of the game.
That could be a big moment here, Andy.
I think you're right, Dan, and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt once again that shot over the stack was just like they drew it up.
Well, sometimes it's about the percentages and the chances, right? Like if you throw it towards the stack, it's going to hang, and you know, chances are there's someone on your team close by, and if they bring it down, it gives you a good shot at the end zone. And it happened to be on the break side of the field.
Correct.
You saw the break, the throw into the stack, the catch, and then the cut to the break side. Valkyrie at 6s and 7s, unable to hold the force, and that was an easy flip for a goal upwind.
And Dan, I mean, you called it in the last point. The mindset from Phoenix is a bit more, you know what, we're going to give this a go and see what happens. A bit more fearless rather than structured, and in that point it worked for them.
Well, it was a piece of advice I received years ago. Don't die wondering. And I don't think Phoenix are going to.
They're not going to. So it's a great start, 2-1 for Phoenix. Now the focus will be on getting an early turn in good field position and converting their break to make it 3-1. Conversely, Valkyrie, the pressure's now on them to work it up, show their patience, not be intimidated by the wind.
This is one of those minor moments in the game where the pressure now swings slightly towards Valkyrie. They have to go upwind to stay on serve, whereas Phoenix have an opportunity to just, tighten the screws a little bit. Yeah. They score downwind here. All of a sudden, Valkyrie are down an upwind break, and that could be game losing.
It's significant in this kind of wind that is only it's probably increasing, and I think we'll check on what it's doing throughout the day, but it does definitely feel more blustery than it did at the start. As we watch Valkyrie now look to engage the dump, that's Lucas. Lucas has Victory out here on the sideline. It'll be a tough one to tow in, and she can't. And that's a turn.
It's a big cross field rip by Lucas.
Looked good out of the hand, and certainly upwind. For it to carry out of bounds upwind, it was a good shot. Big up the line strike is honoured, unfortunately just over the top.
Valkyrie don't really seem to have much of a plan here when it comes to this zone offense. They're just kind of throwing it backwards, trying to reset the stall and not making any progress or headway into the Phoenix zone upwind.
Small pop comes through. They are really, you're right, Dan, they're looking a lot from the handlers. It is very handler generated. If those handlers can push up in through the cup and make it kind of an up the line cut, then you might see it open up a few more options into the midfield. But right now, Valkyrie, similar to Heads of State's first point, really looking at the horizontal space rather than upwind, downwind.
I think Noble will be important if Valkyrie are going to go upwind. See her working in that intermediate space as a popper. I think she's actually moving a little bit too much.
Yep.
She's taking herself out of positions to find the next one. Almost needs to slow down a little bit and just hang in the spaces.
Valkyrie half a sniff here. It's almost at halfway as we see a big disc go up. Fortunately, a little bit too much curve on it. But Leah Cushion has to run all the way back. And this is not, Dan, you talked about field position earlier.
Yeah,
this isn't bad.
When it gets like this, field position becomes important.
Long disc going, not on it. Instead to Katie Locke, can't connect. And interesting there from Valkyrie to throw a match look, not go to their zone as Hoss might have expected. As we see an answer.
Franklin
at the back.
Franklin dropping it into Noble.
Two
Well,
upwind breaks in a row, Dan. Well, upwinders, sorry.
I love that response from Valkyrie. Put under pressure, and they are equal to the task. Nice point, nice conversion there.
I liked their switch to match as well. You know, we've seen pretty much all game so far. It's all been zone. To see that go to a match, kind of called midpoint. It wasn't necessarily planned, but they obviously assessed their options and thought, right, let's go to a match. Probably threw Phoenix off a little bit. They had to go, oh wait, we've got to now cut. It's got the turn and got the break, or got the upwinder. So we're locked at 2-2, back where we started. Dan, I also think the
2-2 and 22 minutes gone.
Yeah,
Richie Benno would be proud.
What's the date? It's February. It's 10:22 as well. So
If only it was the 22nd, eh? You were going to say something, Andy.
I was, but it probably wasn't very good, Dan. No, what I was going to say was, I think obviously an upwind is important in the context of the game, but for Valkyrie to know that they can put upwinders in now, because this is an intimidating breeze, and I think we said at the start the upwinders are going to be critical. For Valkyrie to prove to themselves that we can match what Heads of State did, and we can both score upwinders. It's not going to be one upwinder that wins this game. It's probably going to be 2 or 3.
And for a team like Valkyrie that's going to head to Division 2 Nationals, that confidence in a tournament setting as well is very important, because a lot of these athletes haven't played at this kind of level much, if at all. So to know, hey, we just punched it in up against someone who is our contemporary rival, because Phoenix will probably head to Div 2 as well. I think that's really important.
And a
speculator. That's
had
everyone.
that one.
Everyone's grabbed that at the same time. There's 3 hands on that disc.
Yeah. So I think that was simultaneous catch. Yep, they're going to be happy for it to stay with Heads of State. Richards looking. Riddock comes out. Nice flick into the midfield. Riddock on the flick. Looks at Tony, or McDonald need Tony. Back to Riddock. Riddock catches. A little bit of a bobble. Great position for Heads of State. And that's another goal. Riddock, great outside in flick.
Oh, a bit of sauce on that one.
Excellent shape.
I didn't think that there was enough room to throw that. The defender looked like she had it covered, and nope. Outside in.
I think exactly. I think you see if that's a flat flick, that's deed every day. But the shape around the defender, and Riddock knew as soon as it threw out of the hand, she was pretty happy with it. She knew it was a goal. We didn't, Dan, but Gemma, I think we see our first timeout probably called by Valkyrie. We have had almost as many upwind scores as we have downwind. I think we got 3-2 now.
Shows you
3 upwinders. So
shows you what we know about the game, huh?
Yeah, well, we're evolving our narrative, Dan. We're not changing it. We're just evolving it. And we have said that it's now not going to be one upwinder that wins the game. It's going to be probably 2 or 3, or maybe now 3 or 4.
Interesting. Both teams electing to come in and have a bit of a chat about it. Figure some stuff out, maybe make some adjustments. I think if I was in the Valkyrie huddle, I'd be talking about that zone offense, though. I think that's
I agree.
The obvious adjustment that needs to be made at this time. They need some sort of penetration, some sort of forward progress through that Phoenix zone, because at the moment, they're just not getting it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think Heads of State, it's probably a similar message. I think you're seeing, as we watch the other Heads of State team, Melbourne Juggernaut, put in an upwind break. They are playing Dragon Slayers, and I think there are a couple up in that game. I think the message is similar to Heads of State. Is are we probably getting enough? They're probably getting a little bit more from a popping perspective through the middle. I think for Heads of State, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more activity from the wings. There are recognised throwers on most of those Heads of State lines, and particularly if it's downwind, let it rip. Show the Valkyrie defence, keep the Valkyrie backfield, their wings and deep, keep them accountable to say, what if we see something, as we said, 50-50 or better, especially if we're there, in their kind of defending brick mark. Let it go, see what happens. And as you said, Dan, Heads of State is that kind of team that will give it a go and are a bit more about the adrenaline life than they are the structured one.
The boring clinical.
Not for them. Yeah, not their jam.
I think one of the things I did like out of Phoenix as they were playing that zone, Radicke kind of creeping around the edge of the cup as a handler.
Yeah.
It changes the angle and it gives you a bit of a look towards the inside of the field where that's the weak part of the zone. So if as a handler you can be that little bit aggressive, get around the edge of the cup, just try and create a little bit of an angle, it's still an open throw. But when you catch the disc, then what you're looking at is completely different.
Straight away, yeah. Agreed. And I think the positive thing from Radicke in particular is that really wide step out, which only helps more, as you're saying, the angle, being able to have that space. If you've got a wide step out as well, that's a really helpful asset to have. Hayley Lock, the pull goes probably just inside their attacking brick mark, and Lusted, excellent run down, and will be marking from the first throw. Victory's got it. Looks the swing. Nice layout grab completed.
We're seeing the same thing again, though.
That's a little better. See how that pop came up in through, almost not quite past, but almost past the wall, which then gives them a look inside. Little bobble completed. Really nice throw through the cup.
Yeah, there's Noble popping up again. It seems like Valkyrie are just spaced out a little bit too far. Yep. The wind is like just a little bit too strong that they don't have that confidence to punch the disc the 20 or 30 yards that they're standing apart. They almost need to shorten the field up, bring themselves in a little bit, and be happier with a shorter pass that's more positive in nature.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, and yeah, all right. Up. I like it. Yeah, we like it.
What a goal. We very much like it. Dan liked it so much he broke his chair. Oh, calm down, Daniel. Oh,
I've nearly died. I've nearly died. I'm going to sit that over there.
R.I.P. Okay. As we watch from about the brick mark, looked on the flick, didn't like it. The point, Babe Ruth style. That's an excellent hammer. That is spot on. Fantastic work from Phoenix, and Phoenix were able to do what they couldn't after their first upwinder, and that is convert their break. So we now look at 2-4. An absolutely superb hammer.
A throw to the good space in the field too.
Oh,
just over the top, out the back. Only one person's going to get that.
Yeah. I really liked at least throwing the arc of it. It wasn't one of those hard dagger hammers. She almost used the wind to just help that flatten out and sail. So it was more, I reckon, up than forward as a hammer. But went, you know what, the wind will take it forward. I'm just gonna sit it up there, and not an easy grab either, mind you. That was a confident grab.
Yeah, going away from the direction of the cut. So
yeah,
hard. Yeah, hard catch.
And I reckon it wasn't too far from the back line either, which as a receiver is always in the back of your mind. You're going, okay, I need to grab it, but I also need to be in bounds.
She gave it a good old roost, that's for sure.
Oh, unreal. So, advantage Phoenix as the pull goes up just past the halfway point. Valkyrie setting up nice and deep. Tony almost got a D. And Phoenix now have a look. They're at their attacking brick mark. Phoenix have a really nice opportunity to make this another upwind break.
But this is hard here, Andy. Very, very hard to do it from this spot. Valkyrie are going to go match.
McDonald need Tony. Coming back after the birth of her first boy. Baby boy Luca now hits her sister Tony, Mary Tony. And they're right on their end zone line, heads of state. McDonald goes in for the cut and gets it. That's another upwind break. McDonald, Tony. Luca would be proud of that one.
Phoenix is starting to put together a game.
Absolutely. And Tony, I'm probably one of the best, if not best players on this team. I think, again, if I'm Valkyrie, my discussion, especially if we're going to go down in match, the discussion is probably put two out the front on Tony, one open, one break. if Heads of State want to punt it and go long, fine, they'll live with that. But it's probably almost playing double coverage on Tony because she's an exceptional athlete and can catch as well as throw upwind. But if I was Heads of State, I'd be very, very happy with this start. I think both teams should be pretty proud so far, but certainly Heads of State showing that they can get it done upwind as much as down. And
Well,
Gemma, the score will be 5-2.
At 5-2, Phoenix now defense downwind. We return to what we were talking
Back where we
about.
started. See, we were right. We were ahead of our time.
It's inevitable. Katie Locke is not going to pull here. Looks like Bradley's going to take the responsibility for this one.
And I think if we're seeing Emilia on one line, the feeling I get is that Lusted will be the Emilia of this line. I think you'll see that Caitlin, who's number 4, if we're lining up via the old the normal kind of frisbee nomenclature, number 4, the 4th person from the left, you'll probably see her as the first cut most points. Pull a little bit deeper now. That's a bit better. It's probably at the attacking brick mark. And an excellent rundown, and Valkyrie not going to die wondering now. Looks to Lucas, unfortunately a bit too much outside in. You can definitely tell that was a set play, I think, Dan.
Well, Yaya and Lucas potentially trying to combine there. Two of the probably strongest players on this Valkyrie line.
Agreed.
And when you're down, it's the big players that have got to step up. Or it's a new player that has to step up, but someone's got to step up at some stage.
Really excellent up the line. A little bit of contact, all unintentional. And Elise has a couple people going really deep. Katie Locke looks for and Leah Cushion, excellent up the line again. So that's 2 up the lines in the row. Gets to Caitlin Lusted. Caitlin has Maddie. Doesn't like it. Looks break. Nice big step out. Back to Elise. Unfortunately just bobbles out. Almost picked it up on the return. But Heads of State, I think, should be really impressed with that up the line cutting. And again, if I'm Valkyrie, I'm probably saying take that away. Make them throw back and around. Lucas.
Phoenix back in their arrowhead. Trapped on the sideline is Valkyrie.
Almost got a piece of that. Back to Lucas. A little bit of a bobble, but all good. Lucas, happy to walk it up. Fakes the hammer. Oh, nice block from Elise.
Jaeger trying the scuba, and Bradley has none of it.
There's a lot of space deep. Katie Locke goes deep. It looks good. And there's 2 there. Katie Locke's going to circle back in on it, and it's goal. Heads of State, 6-2.
Well, Phoenix, I think they've finally warmed up.
They have.
Their journey up from Melbourne this morning, maybe. Just a little bit of dead legs, and now
if you watch this, sorry Dan, if you watch this, you see Katie Locke now go off, and she just holds it that extra second. At least holds it that extra second, lets the cut develop a little bit more, and that gives Katie the time to kind of run back onto the disc rather than putting it out in front of her. So it was almost like a really deep under, because I didn't think she was necessarily going to throw that, but just held it the extra second.
Yeah, the throw did come very late.
Yeah.
She held it for a very long time, but it works out.
But you can't disagree with the outcome, Dan, which is a goal which sees Melbourne Phoenix from the Heads of State Club leading 6-2. And another, no, not a timeout, sorry, just a bit of chat going on from both lines, and the coaches very involved.
I know it's a bit of a meme at this stage, but results-based ultimate. If it worked, is it really that bad?
That's it. Ends and means, Dan. Ends and means. If the ends justify the means.
I think that's Thack to pull. That right knee heavily strapped. Well, that's a good pull.
That's a great pull. And Heads of State should also be quite happy about their rundowns. I think most points Valkyrie are throwing with a mark on them. As we see a long one go, it's going to sit. It's not, unfortunately.
Jaeger. She thought about it for a second there.
Did look good. It looked good out of the hand. I think that was Kennedy throwing it. It looked good out of the hand as well. And not a bad strategy, Dan. I think, okay, Heads of State, you've scored a couple up wins, but we're going to make you march it every inch of this field from cone to cone. Whitehead up the line. Not on it. Tony, again, so prolific. Tony, Whitehead, great call, but a pick called. And I think they're going to... No, they are going to send it back. It would be with Tony, I think. No, a couple throws back, so...
I think Smith got hung up on Jaeger in the stack there,
Gotcha.
trying to guard Felicity Whitehead.
Oh, excellent around backhand break to Whitehead. Has McDonald. McDonald, inside flick to Tony. Another good grab on her knees. Picks it up off the bootlaces and looks back at McDonald. McDonald getting every second pass and has it in power position. Puts the backhand. It's just too far.
This team is ride or die, guns blazing.
That's what we like.
You know, there's flames spewing from the exhaust. There is no quit.
And again, I mean, Dan, I know we've said it, but McDonald need Tony every second pass. You know, she's so good and
very dynamic.
Yeah, agreed. But Valkyrie now, nice early positive movement. Jaeger lets one go. Was looking for Smith, I think, but unfortunately a little bit too deep. Emily Clark it is, sorry. But positive signs from Valkyrie, I think, you know, showing that they can throw it and hit it downwind. They're not bad options, Dan, and I think they keep throwing them, one's going to come off. And again, it's throwing the gauntlet down to heads of state to say, okay, you're going to have to work it up every step.
It wasn't too far away. You just need a little bit more float on that disc. Too much edge, it dying too fast, not giving the receiver a chance to run it down.
Whitehead going up the line again. Heads of state so aggressive with their dumps going up the line.
Well, every single time we see on the reset, it's a set play where the reset goes up the line. I'll come back to it in a moment.
Victory gives a little head check. Millard gets the goal. 3-6.
Now, coming back to the Phoenix set play, on the reset, when the disc is tapped in, the reset goes straight up the line straight away.
On one, basically, yeah.
And looking for the cut out of the stack to provide that reset option that normally starts from a static position. Instead, it's coming from a dynamic position. It has been working, but it's a little bit obvious.
And again, it's up to probably the Valkyrie leadership and coaching staff to recognise that and say, okay, we know that first one's going up the line, so we're going to really cover around, maybe move the mark slightly, no inside.
And if you're playing defense on that, you just play inside technique on the first in the stack, and all of a sudden, it takes that away because you know where that first cut is coming from, the one in the stack.
Yep. Now we've had a couple of calls from Bendigo City Council inquiring as to Dan vandalising the chair. I'd just like to clarify the chair was already broken prior to Dan's excitement. Dan did not break the chair. But if anyone has a chair or a couch, you know, back in the day, like the Melbourne Hat, someone would bring like a couch down, or when you go and watch country footy, someone has a couch on the back of their ute. I think, Dan, that's what I wouldn't mind.
We need to go roaming the streets of Bendigo and see if there's
rubbish.
a council pickup sometime
Agreed.
soon, and there's a couch or something.
Oh.
It wouldn't be the first time that we've picked one off the side of the road to bring down to the field.
Commentating ulti on a couch, sun out. Doesn't get better than that, Dan.
Have a few interviews, maybe.
Exactly. Pull goes up from Valkyrie. It's going to come in halfway, but importantly for Valkyrie, right on the sideline.
Yeah, they can clap on a strong zone, which it looks like they're going to attempt to, but it's Rick picking it up. So one of the better throwers for Phoenix, and no troubles at all there.
No. Nice big step outs from a few of the heads of state players. Felicity Whitehead as well has a nice wide step out, but unfortunately can't connect with Mary Tony. And Jaeger half a sniff. Jaeger taking it, Valkyrie taking it from, and it'll be Millard picking up. And she looks deep. Disc is going to sit up, but not enough. And the call from the Valkyrie sideline is to set it up. Mary Tony looks for Emilia popping in, getting a lot of attention. So Valkyrie have obviously adapted.
Oh, whoa.
Radicke, excellent grab on the hammer that was dying.
Franklin nearly getting herself a Callahan.
McDonald, nice gainer, completed. Great flow from heads of state and rips it.
Right or die,
Right or die, Dan. That's it.
Half a sniff and, we're off to the races.
Yeah.
She just needed to settle that half a breath.
Yep.
Let the cut develop a little bit more.
Yep.
Step out, just a nice floaty pass, put it in the end zone.
Yep.
You can walk off the field 7-3.
Similar to that shot that we saw come off to Katie Locke. You know, let the cut mature a little bit. Know that wind is really going to help the disc get there quickly. Valkyrie unable to get any movement. Looks out wide. Jaeger. Excellent grab. Keeps the disc alive. That's the bit of the game so far. Excellent layout. Completes the pass. And now Valkyrie, can they use that energy to generate an upwind break? Malhorta. Nice wide step out. Unfortunately, just bounces out of the hands. But an excellent layout grab from Jaeger. Whitehead, as the call is now match. Whitehead bringing it in. Looks at McDonald. Effortless. It just looks so good. Puts up the flick. Over Malhorta's head. It is pinpoint.
Well, she wanted the fat side.
Yep.
She pointed to the break side of the field. Didn't quite get it there, but
correct, yeah.
Did enough with the frisbee, and it held up over Malhotra. It takes us to 7-3 anyway. We see the full strength layout. Wow.
So Whitehead, and again, heads of state. Emily's in the stack there, but you see the up the line space that they're attacking. And Dan, as you say, I think she probably wanted that a little bit more further left. But again, use the height of her teammate as well as a bit of that wind to help it carry over the top of Malhorta. Dan, the thing I really like about what Phoenix are doing is you're right. It's exactly that. It's ride or die. But they're all on the same page as we see Lachlan McDonald. Just give Emilia a little congratulations. Husband and wife having a great time on the sideline. Just right off to the left of screen there. But Dan, the ride and die spirit, it's universal across the team. It's not like you've got a couple, every team has a couple of loose cannons that will send discs that they shouldn't. And, the teammates, you can see sometimes there's a little side eye or, the team don't really like it.
It's almost better like this, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone's on the same page. People are they're empowering their teammates to give it a go. There's no kind of, side eyes or size or anything like that. The whole team's on the same page. We're going to give it a go. And if we play D, we play D. We're going to work hard to get it back. So I think that's really good from that heads of state team as we watch.
Yeah, culture is very important in a team. And when someone doesn't vibe or gel with the culture, it always introduces conflict. And conflict will never win you games, and it will never win you a national title. And at least being on the same page, right, wrong, good, bad, or otherwise, as long as you're all, you've got the same idea, hell, let it ride and let's just bet it all on black.
Yep, exactly. And speaking, on a similar note, Valkyrie are looking at the deep shots a bit more now.
I think that they've adjusted very much to the weather.
Yep.
They've seen what the game is like, and they've realised that they've just had to make a bit of a tweak. And I like it. I like teams that play to the conditions and realise, hey, our plan A isn't working. Let's go to plan B.
Agreed. Alex Hung bringing it in.
She's a little bit stuck.
Excellent big break. Elise cleans it up. Goes the inside flick to Caitlin Lusted. Nice inside to Maddie, but unfortunately, it's just squeezing it a little bit. It was a short pass that came up on Maddie very quickly. And another long one into the back corner. It's just going to float out the back. I like it, Dan. I like it. They're throwing the gauntlet down to Hoss to say you're going to have to work it up. And every time we get the disc, we're going to be looking to strike. We're going to be really aggressive. We're going to look to score the goal. 3-7 the score to Valkyrie. Sorry, to Phoenix. Valkyrie with the downwind, but they will be playing defense, so they'll need to win the disc back if they want to take that to 4.
This stack is set up very far away for Phoenix. There's that
Valkyrie
set
marking.
play again. Bradley
Yep.
looking to fill it in.
Elise looks off. First cut. Looks to Lusted on the break. Really attacking the break, Phoenix, which I like. Lusted, big step out. Instead goes for the flick. Looks at Maddie. Maddie clears. Goes to Elise. Elise doing a really good job. Points. McConaughey wants it. Goes long. Back to Brandy. Goes up the line. It'll be a high count. And Brandy needs to come back under. No, unfortunately not. So Valkyrie now. Kennedy. Nice big shot over the cup. Plenty of space. Valkyrie want to continue to capitalise on this flow. Now got it at their attacking brick mark. Options are plenty. They can move it to Kennedy. Emma Kennedy looks inside. The popping has improved from Valkyrie. And they're starting to expose some gaps in this Phoenix fence. And that's a goal.
It's almost like they heard me talking about it, Andy. Positive action through the cup, get a bit of forward momentum, pierce through that first line of defense, and, well, Valkyrie just on their way to their 4th point of the game.
"4-7 the score. I think there's a timeout called, a bit of a strategic timeout, Dan, given that we are coming up on half. I don't think Heads of State had burned one, so using one, why not? Gives a team a chance to regroup.
Yeah, a big point as well.
Yep.
Go downwind, take half. You know, I like the idea behind timeouts that are proactive.
Yep.
Rather than they've just scored 3 or 4 on us, let's call a timeout and try and, I don't know, do something. This, you know, when you're going to put a good line on the field, you need a moment. I think calling a timeout and organising that, getting yourselves set for what could be a deciding moment in the game, is a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. It's 4-7 now, but Valkyrie break and convert their downwind. It's 6-7 and you're in the thick of it. So, whereas, you know, Heads of State, take a breath, take a moment. 8-4 with them coming out on downwind O, I believe. That's a really commanding position. I also think if you're going to call the timeout, Heads of State, the one thing I would say to them is, you know, Valkyrie, as we said in the last point, Valkyrie have adjusted. They're starting to hit the deep space a little bit more. And I think you probably saw Heads of State react to that with their fence sit back, and that was what gave, because they're worried about that deeper shot over the top, which exposed both gaps in the wall because they're sitting further away, but also allowing those pops to come through. So that's probably the only defensive adjustment I'd make if I was Heads of State. I think their offense is exceptional. I think they're playing really well. They're throwing a lot of breaks. They're stepping out wide. They're getting really good flow. I'd say, you know, it ain't broke so don't fix it, but, you know, McDonald is doing a huge amount of work. Do you share that load? But, you know, overall, I think they should be pretty happy with where they're at.
I would like to see maybe another zone wrinkle out of Phoenix. They have gone with that arrowhead pretty much exclusively. I wonder if they do know a different kind of zone. Maybe go with the 1-4-2-1 or even a 3-3-1. Adjust the zone a little bit. See if you can get Valkyrie to play flatter again, because they had a lot of success when Valkyrie were forced to play very flat.
Yep.
So the arrowhead is no longer getting you that kind of squished dimension anymore.
Yep.
Is there a zone wrinkle that you can pull to maybe push them back into that situation where you were getting a lot of success?
I think Valkyrie have just adjusted really well, you know, to both the defense as well as the conditions. You know, we probably saw in the first 2 points, probably more turnovers in those first 2 points than we've seen in the points preceding it. So they've adjusted really well, and I think you're right. I think it's on Heads of State to say how can we throw something a little different to make them think twice. As we watch Valkyrie, it's Lucas, and we'll get this one just past halfway.
Yeah, good pull, set up before the offense arrives, so everything you want.
Oh, the first throw a little bit high over Mary Tony. It'll be Malhorta bringing it in from the sideline. Really positive, assertive early cut. Now looks dump. Excellent flick out to Victory. And that one's going to bounce. Oh, nice bid from Lucas.
They wanted it.
It was going to be a bold call to bid, but what did you say, Dan? Don't die wondering? Lucas certainly didn't.
Honestly, when it comes to layout bids, you got to go.
Got to go.
Because sometimes the disc just holds up and you get there.
Yep.
And you're never going to know unless you actually have a crack at it.
Gemma Riddock with the disc. Cops a little bit of attention on the mark. She's okay. They move it through. Gemma doing a lot of work. Gemma, we've talked a lot about Tony. I think Riddock has probably been one of the best players on Phoenix as well, as we look swung wide to Mary Tony. And there is one out the back. Mary's seen it. Going to have to do a lot of work. Oh, unfortunately, can't complete. I think right idea. It's just in this wind, it's very, very tricky to execute a loopy throw like that, as we see Lucas. She lets one go upwind now. It's going to sit. We're going to get people under it. Riddock's got a nice spot. Excellent grab.
Smith coming in to snake the entire pack with an excellent read at the back.
Really, you're spot on, Dan. Really good read. Lucas in power position, looks at the flick. Excellent hit up the middle to Noble. Noble really wants the flick. Instead goes back, looks at the backhand, fakes out Whitehead, goes again with the backhand. It's going to be a bit of a sidearm, and it's grabbed in the end zone. Upwind. 5-7, Dan. It was what we were saying. I mean, that really assertive point from Valkyrie. Could that be a moment?
It's almost like they're reading Melbourne Phoenix's playbook at the moment.
Yeah, right or not. Yep.
They've just said, all right, okay, if this is how we're going to play the game, two can play at it.
I agree.
And Lucas has thrown up an absolute speculator that has been ripped down. All right, great play.
Yep.
But then through the middle, Noble, I'm loving what Noble's bringing to the game at the moment. She's really providing a nice option to give the offense momentum and forward progress. Like, she's just open all the time.
Yeah, I agree. So now 5-7, we've got a game. Heads of State will need to score upwind O to take half. Half at 8. We played a 15.
But this
how are the games at these? Is it 80 minutes?
Yeah, in these pool play matches though, the games are only 70 minutes long, I believe. So we're a little bit shorter in these early game matches.
And Dan, am I right in understanding five game slots today?
It is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day of action here.
As we see our first brick of the day. Pulling has been challenging because of the wind, but also very accurate. That's the first
to a
brick
high
that we've
standard,
seen.
I would say.
Yep.
Often you judge a pull on, can your defense get set? Can you get set up and then have enough field to work with to get a turn?
Yep.
And pretty much universally it's been yes for both teams. This will be the first time that we've seen a brick, but defense is still set up.
And they're able to push Heads of State back. Whitehead moves it across. Elise.
I just want to point something out here, Andy. You see how Bradley got a little bit up the field there. And you see how Whitehead is doing the same thing on this side of the field, just trying to get around the edge of that zone, get around the edge of the containment.
Nice flow. Keeps it in. Yeah, Heads of State, you're right, Dan. It's aggressive, but it's also very low count throws. Oh, nice D. Jaeger read it, saw it coming. But Heads of State not throwing past like a 2 count. So clearly want to be very aggressive. And now can Valkyrie. It's a deep look.
When it comes to breaking zones, the fast movement is one valid option because as the disc starts to move, the cup isn't going to move as fast as the frisbee. So if you can move the disc from one side of the field to the other really quickly and then move it down the field really quickly, that is one valid way to break a zone. And it's probably the oldest version of breaking a zone. If all else fails, just move it quickly.
Yeah, and I think, especially against the traditional zones that front load, players up the field. So things like a puppy or a pommy fence. You know, if you get it through, that you've got the numbers advantage in the backfield. You'll probably have a 4-on-3, and that backfield will have to jump up, as we see a late put over the top, Tony, and there's all kinds of scraps. But ultimately, it is a turnover. That backfield will have to protect the deep space, which gives you the opportunity for even more flow. Speaking of, McDonald, another long put, and here we go, as we call it, 3-on-2. Mary Tony looks to Elise. Felicity Whitehead gets it, and that's half. Well done from Phoenix, although we are going to look at a call.
Ooh, boo hiss, says the crowd.
A delayed pick call. We're just going to have a chat about whether it affected. It has not affected. Yep. It is a goal.
An excellent show of spirit there by Valkyrie. And rightly, they made the call, which is the right thing to do, and I think, also retracting that is also the right thing to do. So great spirit by them. Deciding not to call that one back, as the picked player had no play on the frisbee.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think it was on Tony's opponent, McDonald's opponent. But I think especially given that Whitehead was the one that caught the goal, and Tony not close enough to grab it, it probably didn't affect the play. And the other thing I like, Dan, and I've said this for a few years now, something I believe the women's division does a lot better than the men's, is the signals and the communication. We saw about 7 people wave it away, score a goal. It's just something the men cannot do.
That's because they're too cool for school. Maybe.
I just don't think they know, or at least talking from my club, we're not bashing down the doors of Mensa at Juggernaut, so probably just don't know the signals. But I really like how a lot of women's teams that I've noticed take the time to actually communicate with the hand signals, which is something that makes our life a lot easier, Dan.
It does, and for everyone watching at home as well, you can see as well very clearly on the screen, when the hands go up, 2 straight up arms like that, that's a goal. If they've got the double biceps, as they call them, that's the pick. And it's about showing the sport and allowing people to understand what's happening out there, even if you're not, an expert at it.
Yeah, you're right. And we probably forget it because we are old school Frisbee nerds, Dan, but there are a few rules in the game, and sometimes it does take a little bit of time to pick up what those rules are, and I think you're spot on. By being able to show the hand signals, it at least helps educate people as to we're just watching the Heads of State game. Helps educate people as to what's going on in the field.
I think for the second half, coming back to this game, I really think that there's not much that Phoenix need to do differently, and I don't think that Valkyrie need to make any large changes either. I think that both teams are pretty close to the way they need to be playing this game, and it's just more of the same. Try and execute a little bit better. I mean, as you always can in sport.
Yep.
And really just see how close you can make this game, because Valkyrie, they could sneak back in here. Phoenix has definitely shut the front door, but the back door and all the windows are wide open still.
Yeah, and I think they should look at that point coming out of Heads of State's timeout, where we were talking, it was, I think, 7-4. And we said 8-4, upwind, coming downwind on O, that's a very tough position to come back from. Instead, Valkyrie scored that point. We were looking at 5-7. Ultimately, Heads of State did really well to put in the upwinder, but it's kept them in touch. And it's actually made a big difference from an ends perspective, because Heads of State would have been coming up off that end anyway.
Yeah, so it's potentially a 2 or 3 point swing that they've avoided, and now potentially you think maybe if they get a little bit here, they get a turn, they get a score, and it goes to 8-6.
Yep, absolutely.
It just makes things murky, and when you're behind in a game, that's almost what you want. Just make it a little bit unclear, a little bit murky.
Yeah.
Make things unsure so that the other team has to almost rise to a new level. Like, not just rise and beat you, but figure it out, because often we're our own worst enemies when it comes to sport, and sometimes we can beat ourselves on the field, start overthinking things, and, oh no, they're coming back, and what if they score this one, and the self-doubt starts to creep in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just realised, Dan, we've got must be Heads of State Oval, because we've actually got 3 Heads of State teams, being Phoenix, the game that we're watching, where they are up. Juggernaut, the First Division men's team, on the field over. They are winning their game against the Dragon Slayers. And then on the third field, the Div 2 team, Carnage, who are behind to Ellipsis, who are obviously a very strong team up there with the team to beat in the men's division.
As fans of the Heads of State Club would love to see it. The burgundy and white.
Yeah, I think all teams, both men's teams in the burgundy. Phoenix obviously repping the white for this game.
There was a jersey toss in there. As often, that's the way we sort things out in Ultimate. If you rock up with clashing kits, you end up often having to toss a disc, and, well, loser ends up in the white generally. Nobody likes playing in the whites. Everyone wants to play in the darks. Well, it's one of those things in Ultimate that's always been like when you go to pick up, you bring in a light and a dark shirt, and it just seems to have translated into the tournament scene as well, that teams, when they have their kits and their alternate, obviously, they bring a light and a dark. There's not too many greys.
Which is good, Dan. We don't want to see the greys. I don't want to see greens or blues. It's white or dark.
Well, we're not going to be too far away from the start of the second half. Valkyrie are just... I don't think they've practiced their cheers. I think they've practiced their ultimate, but not their cheers.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
It's a 7 out of 10. Well, the huddles are going to break, and we'll head into the second half of this game. Heads of State Phoenix to go downwind by the looks of it, and Valkyrie to play defense out of the second half. Looks like Jaeger is marshalling her troops in the middle of the field. There does actually look to be a little bit of confusion as to who is doing what and who is pulling where. I think we've got the ends right. They're just figuring out who's pulling to who. Well, while they solve that problem, we'll continue to keep you company here. Lovely Bendigo. Victoria. Weather certainly much better than the last time we were here. We were here for Mixed Nats a few years ago, and, well, that was an interesting weekend when it came to the weather. It was sunny, and then it was raining. It was really cold, and it was windy. Today, it is absolutely pleasant. The wind has died off a lot, so the frisbee conditions are improving. Checking the weather app, it's 21 degrees at the moment, so could not ask for nicer conditions. Potential top of about 28 later this afternoon. Might get a little bit sweatier later today. Looks like it's going to be Lucas to pull for Valkyrie. And the second half begins. Felicity Whitehead to pick up. To Thack in the middle. Radicke and Whitehead are very wide. The wind nearly kills it. But Whitehead with the left hand to Radicke on the near sideline. She wants to pop in, nodding. He's going to go over. And it's Lucas, the only one in the area.
That's it. Read it well. Lucas has read a few of those well from the backfield. Can see when the handler's looking up at the space over the top. Lucas doesn't like the cutting option. Engages the dump to go up the line. Very close. Does well. Lucas up the line. Very nice cut.
No spin on that disc.
Yeah, a little
Andy,
tough.
it just bobbling in the air. And
when it's that short a throw, you don't have that much time to react to it. The State bringing in from the sideline. Another 2-on-1. Lucas
throw.
is the one. Ooh. And I don't know if there was contact.
Bit of a drive-by by Lucas.
Did not affect is the decision.
Okay.
I think Lucas was ready to give it to her.
Hey, down.
Excellent movement early on. This is probably as good as Valkyrie have looked. Unfortunately, one just gets through Lucas's hands. As Radicke goes to pick up the disc now, about 5 metres short of their attacking brick mark, moves it across Whitehead, who's played really well all game. He's had a really solid game, has picked a couple of discs up that were thrown out very far in front or off her bootlaces. Has to work a little bit for this one as well, a nice scuba. As Radicke then lets go a flick, it's going to float, but not enough. It's going to go out the back.
I think Melbourne Phoenix have just gone away a little bit from what was giving them success in the first half against this zone. Their handlers are standing much, much wider than they were in the first half. I'm not sure what changed.
Yep.
I feel like they need to bring them in a little bit closer and go a little bit further down the field. They're playing way too wide and way too flat at the moment.
Big cut from the back of the stack. Nice gainer. Oh, and heads a stake at the turn. And just pops out of Gemma's hands. Melhorta looks inside. Radicke has a bid, can't get to it. A lot of players collapsing around the disc. Melhorta gets half a fingertip to it, but it was a little bit far away and a little bit high. And Head to State will have another go.
Little grass toss on the way. Just make sure that
That's an excellent first throw. Radicke lets it go again.
it's big.
Just got pulled under it a tiny bit. That was a great first throw to move it off the sideline. Nice high release flick over the top, gave Radicke a lot of space to work with. There was no one in the cup even close.
And the angle of the disc as well is it's nice to throw in that direction.
Yeah.
The wind is kind of almost like keeping a lid on it and keeping the disc down so it doesn't balloon up in the air.
And that has been the time cap siren that's gone. 70 minutes.
So I believe we finish the point, and if we have a winner, we have a winner.
Right, okay, so Phoenix will notch up their first victory as we see a wide one go. Felicity Whitehead has had a great game. She can add a D to it. And can she add an assist? Oh! What a way to finish it. Some style points from Melbourne Phoenix.
The sauce. I love it.
Seeing that.
Well, what a way to end the first game. Fitting as well, I think. Whitehead has had a great game and gets the block and then lays it out there.
Yep. And they've finished the point. Time cap did go that point. Traditionally, you finish the point and add one to the score, but we'll find out what's going on in this tournament. Every tournament has its nuances. Sometimes it's just finish the point. Sometimes it's finish the point and add one.
It looks like they are going to play add one, so I don't know anything about anything.
Well, that's okay, Dan. We'll try and find out from the coaches. But what we do know is that was an excellent play from Heads of State. And I also think Valkyrie, for a first game of the tournament, there's a lot of positives to take away. I'm not writing them off here at 9-5. We're going to play this, I think, a game 9-5 game to 10. A lot of positives for themselves as well at the start of their Nationals campaign.
For a lot of teams that are heavily into that development and growth space, you don't build a good program off game one, day one.
Correct.
You kind of build it slowly over time. You take what you've learned here and you try and apply those lessons and continue to grow into the game over the course of the weekend. Ideally, you want your team on day 2 to beat the team that came on day 1. If you could play against yourself.
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that. Jaeger looks the flick. Instead, opts for the backhand dump. One goes up over the top. And unfortunately can't complete. But nice to see him putting it deep, Dan.
And Franklin's got good control. Like, it doesn't tend to get away from her too much. It just seems to kind of drop on the spot, giving the receivers an opportunity to track it down.
Alex Hung, excellent shot. Hits Elise. Elise then does it the same to Lusted. Just bounced out of her hands. Unlucky. Jaeger looks out wide. Nice floaty disc. They'll be run onto it. There are 3 of them. Unfortunately, probably all 3 of them thought the other person was going to get it. It was a nice throw out of the hand. Used that upwind, downwind just to float in, but unfortunately they can't complete it, and it's Beck McConaughey to come and pick up the disc. She looks big break backhand. Elise bids, but cannot complete it. And, Dan, to your point around, development, and that's exactly what Valkyrie are. This is off their Facebook page, a women's ultimate club based in South Australia, focusing on developing women in ultimate. So very much a club focused on developing the player base in South Australia.
And tournaments are always great experience. The density of games is always an athletic challenge, but also as a player, you have an opportunity to just play lots of ultimate and really start to learn, okay, what works for me, but also what is everybody else doing and what works for them. And you get to see all of these talented players come and put their thing down as well as Phoenix get another turn.
One of those talented players, Beck McConaughey, goes to Katie Locke, now to Maddie, and that is 5-10. And good timing for the game to finish because the heads of state men's teams, big cheer from the sideline when they saw Maddie catch the winning goal off Katie Locke. Beck McConaughey getting the D, seeing the wide swing go up, was able to fill the space, moves it really quickly to Katie, who was free. And Maddie, new player for heads of state. So new I don't know her last name, Dan, but I know her name's Maddie. Catching the winning goal, which is not a bad way to start your ultimate career. So 5-10 was the score here. I think both teams, Dan, probably can be pretty proud of the upwind, or both broke upwind multiple times. Pretty good start to the respective campaigns.
A lot of positives. I think Valkyrie, even though they lost, that's not a bad loss. Because some days you come out and you lose in such a way that there's just no value in it. But based upon what they did, their performance, the adjustments that they made, really good. I think that there's so much more yet to come from Valkyrie, and I look forward to seeing what they can do later in the tournament when the pool play and all the standings start to get a little bit boiled down. See how they go. See if they can sneak in, win a couple of games, and maybe climb a little bit up the rankings. And, Phoenix, they won the game. Can't really say much more than that. They're off to a great start. And Div 2 for them later this year up in Raymond Terrace will be a good outing, I think.
Excellent. Yes, lots of smiles from both teams. I think they're both pretty happy in the Spirit Circle there, which is fantastic to see.
Well, coming up next, we have Ellipsis v. Ellipsis in roughly 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you switch over to that live stream here on ulti.tv. Any closing thoughts, Andy?
No, an excellent start. I was just actually thinking it's great to have teams from different states, and obviously you can see here doing their MVP. It's great to have Ultimate back, to have it up and flying. and looking forward to an excellent weekend, Dan. So thank you, and yes, we'll tune in 15 minutes' time.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Ulti.tv